Good morning, good morning. Hello, everyone. Morning, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me properly and see me properly. It looks good on my end. My levels look okay. And if I suddenly drop out, I'll try and reconnect within a couple of minutes. Computer's playing up. Anyway, as always, if you want to ask a question, make sure you throw a couple of bright emojis or notable emojis on my right there in the chat stream, and we'll discuss my last few videos. Feel free to ask any sensible questions, any civil questions, guys. Political ones, I'm not a really big political person in terms of the stuff people follow about this guy versus that guy. Basically stuff that really you as an individual person don't have a lot of saying. There are a lot of important things, I know, but you know what I mean. If you follow my channel, you kind of know what I have something of value or depth to say about and what I don't. Hey, Donna. Couple of regulars. Yeah, this camera and this setup is tricky, but when it works, it looks better than the last one because I can move in and out and I stay in focus no matter what. All right. If you guys have any questions, remember to ask them in the chat. I'll go through some of the notable comments from the last few videos. I don't get to every comment, and that's not intentional. It's just whatever pops out, and I'll always check throughout the day. And anything that's sort of notable, I'll put it down. But the comment section's always pretty good. That's one thing I'm proud of under my channel in general. Is I've got a good bunch of guys sharing a lot of good information and insights, because my life experience is not going to be like everyone else's, and my words don't often speak to people, but a combination of another person's words and their experience clicks with someone else and finally makes them not feel like they're the only one, finally puts the pieces together and things make sense for them, and now they can kind of form a solution. Okay, people are telling me my sound is good. Look okay. All right. First off, sad news, Vention has apparently passed away a couple of days ago. I'm pretty sure that's what has happened. He sent one of his last videos from his hospital bed saying that it didn't look good. He was going into surgery. So, although it hasn't been 100% confirmed from what I've heard, it pretty much is the case. That's sad news. Couple of really good old school MGTOW guys from the golden era have gone. So Vention a couple of days ago, Paul Proteus earlier this year, I think it was, or was it late last year? I can't remember now, but it wasn't long ago. Respite 011 Rad says, do you keep up with the political headlines or find them valuable to know? I don't stay on top of them because they're always changing, and it resembles Big Brother or reality TV. And the information is so contradictory. In Australia, we've got so many leaders now in front of the camera and news reporters that resemble mothers, quivering with fear, telling me one thing today, telling me another thing tomorrow, saying this is safe, and then tomorrow it's not. So everything is sped up in terms of not being able to trust what they say. I just heard 2 days ago that we're giving dogs here shots because of the thing that's going around that I can't mention. So, you know, before it was dogs can't get it, now they can get it. Now they can't get it, now they can get it. Now there's a whole campaign to get little foo-foo, you know, because you don't want them to pass away. Anyway, I kind of, when I visit family members, friends, they'll tell me, rather than, because you put the news on, or anywhere really, you log off your Hotmail or whatever, the banners and every even the front page of YouTube, it's just littered with it. So it's not like if I don't want to just, I can't miss the headlines anyway. But every time I look, I feel like it's clickbait. Like it's going around, it's not fake, but it's just kind of clickbait for my fear responses. And I hate being afraid. I actually refuse to, if I can help it. There's enough that's naturally going to make you feel that way. Donna says, how can I help a mate with his emotions of anger, sadness, and guilt regarding his marriage to a boozehead that has left him raising 3 kids solo? That's a hard one. I mean, you know, fairly or unfairly, it's a really big indicator when a woman leaves her kids, willingly doesn't want her kids and leaves them with the father. We've got family friends, distant family friends, where that happened, and it's really telling. And you'll have women saying, oh, well, why is it just women? Yeah, it's awful when a man does it too. It says a lot about a father where he just willingly casts them away, doesn't want to have anything to do with them. But with a woman especially, it's very rare. And from what you hear, the way women talk about having kids and stuff like that, just generally speaking, how connected they are to their children. Whereas kind of a man is still connected, but he's the kind of protector. He's proud, protecting the kids. He's kind of got a very different, proud, loving, fatherly connection from what I see. Like, yes, I'm not a father, but when you listen to how mothers talk and their reaction, it's pretty telling. How can you help your friend with his emotions of anger, sadness, and guilt? It's one of these funny things where I think, regardless of whatever kind of loss has happened, whether it's, you know, marriage breakdown, kids losing them, no custody, abandonment, his world's basically been turned upside down. It's a foreign world, so, or it's a death or something. All you can do is, as cliche as it is, you've just got to kind of let it out. You've got to vent. He has to make sense of it, and all he needs is people like you, friends and family around him, support and an ear to listen to. And over time, it's cliche because it's probably the truth. The thing that spoke to me when I've had moments where I had kind of big moments of loss is, it pops into my head, there is nothing I can say or do that will stop you thinking about the thing, whatever it is. It is terrible, it's awful. You wake up every day and it's the first thing you think of, until one day you wake up and it's the second thing you think of. That's the only thing I can kind of offer. But certainly having people around him to talk to, knowing that he's not alone. There's something else. He's not completely disconnected now from who he was, his life. He's the biggest part of his foundation. His female partner, his support is gone. At least he can have a serviceable simulacra of support, like friends and family. Like, this is the thing I say about guys who still want companionship with women. People say, just, replace that with your hobby of riding your bike or playing guitar. It's like, do you know how different the meaning of that interaction is, the fulfillment? It's very, very different. And it's the same. You can't say to any more than you can say to a guy, if he loved his kids, just don't worry, replace them with playing the guitar. Oh, your grandfather or mother or father passed away. You just play video games. Come on, be realistic. It's a very glib answer. So, yeah, Donna, I'd say just be a friend, and hopefully he's got other people who want to be a friend. And help as much as you feel comfortable with, but not obligated. Yeah, but there's no quick fix, I'd say. She left him with 3 kids solo. That's a tough one. Anel says, what are your thoughts on the numbers showing that there are more 30-year-old male virgins, because I don't know if I can say these words anymore, versus 30-year-old female version of that? 80-20 rule in effect, you think? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. There are much more men who haven't slept with someone compared to women. Yeah, when you look at the 80-20 rule, when it's got to do with today's swipe dating and how people are just hooking up, and as the young generation keep reminding me, no one dates anymore. No one has relationships. LOL. So hooking up is normal. Or as a young girl reminded me a couple of last week or the week before, that she was offended that I generalized hookups because they're meaningful. You can't just give yourself, your heart to one person. You have a lot of love to give to many people. Okay, fine. But enjoy the therapy sessions later, and you never being able to kind of completely relax, because all of a sudden you can't help it when one of your free and open partners that you hook up with and share it, like, completely in a naked way, literally and figuratively, share yourself with in a sport fashion, all of a sudden you like this person's personality and everything, but he's like, no, you're just one of many people that I use and then throw away like a tissue. And then it doesn't feel good, and you can't understand why, and you're trying to force the narrative like, no, this is good and I have to like it despite how I feel. Good luck. Keep doing it. That's all I say. Keep doing it. The degree to which people defend what they believe in, it's very easy to see when they're really ferocious about it and they get annoyed and angry at you, and the TRIGGERED word. When they react that way, it's very telling that I don't even know if they believe it themselves. They're trying to make it true. Who Cares says, I've tried focusing on what I enjoy, but find no matter how hard I try, it's almost impossible to find friends, let alone partners of outside of social media. I don't have time to join clubs. Yeah, and it's not the same as before. But before, you used to join clubs and do a lot of things externally, but now you're not allowed to have clubs. If the country or state you're in has forced you to stay inside, And yeah, no one socializes out there as much anymore. There's not as many people, and people just give up. People have given up in a lot of ways. The only I still remember it. You know, when you watch some movies and they're terrible, but they stick in your mind for one quote. And this is the same for me. I still remember when I watched Hunger Games. Didn't like that movie at all. But one line that Kiefer Sutherland said was that the two most powerful things are. One of the people said, they mentioned, "Oh, is it hope? Is it fear?" He said, "No, it's hope. Hope's more powerful than fear." And you pull people between fear and hope. Look at what's happening today. Relationships or the state of the world. It's like fear, fear, fear. Give you a little bit of hope, pull you back to fear. And you're controlled by the two most powerful emotional states. They're even sort of, externally speaking, to control people, they're even greater than love in a lot of ways, because you can just keep them going. It's not tied to any one thing. It's just like, it's tied to your emotional responses. It's tied to your chemical balance of cortisol and dopamine. Hope and fear. A lot of that is tied to being in relationships too. Don't you worry about that. Hey, Mr. Highway, how you going? He says, I was chatting with a girl. She said she used to be thinner, but started taking medicine that made her gain weight. I instantly knew it was you know what? Thanks to info I've gathered, from the sphere. Yeah, a lot of people, especially from the outset, I can understand people not wanting to divulge very, very personal information that they don't even tell people, like medical things, very private stuff, your financial details, things like that. I completely get it. You're not going to be a complete open book because people will have preconceived judgments. Your kind of semi-defensiveness when you first meet someone, you want to let your guard down. But even if the person's being completely open, ridiculously open, it can be very confrontational. But that's kind of, that's not a white lie. That's actually, that's a significant lie that plays into your relationship. Who she is, her mood, how she's going to act, what you have to deal with. It's different if they're embarrassed about something that has really no effect on your relationship, but you can tell it's private and it'll take time for the person to eventually trust you enough. But yeah, that's taking medication to keep yourself sane. No. Some people can. And a lot of people fall into the broken wing relationship. They love being the person to save them. Oh, all these guys treated me badly. And the guy thinks, I'll be the person who's going to treat you well. I'll be the hero. No one ever helped me financially. I'll be the one. No one ever did this. I'll be the one. So they fished with the poor me thing, and you go to save them. And then they know, oh, you'll take care of me. Armored Ghost says, what is humans' new normal diet? Is that, I don't know, is that kind of like supposed to be a joke or something? Given the state of the world? Or are you asking? I don't know. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Highway. The news will rot your brain. I'd rather let it be filtered and understood in kind of a very neutral way, as best as a lot of the garbage out there can be understood through family and friends that I trust when I catch up with them. It can be part of our conversation, because I don't want to sit through, because you watch it and it's just the thing on loop being told by different people. The same thing. With really tense music to make you feel what you're supposed to feel. Vero says, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, guys. Like the video and make sure you're subscribed. Doesn't cost you anything and helps me out and the channel out. No, thank you very much for your super chat donation. I appreciate it, man. He says, I think most men are more in danger of being too effeminate rather than too masculine. Yeah, but think about the kind of macho PUA style sort of masculinity. It's for me, it's kind of very dangerous for guys who are very. It's not the thing they need, because what it does, it plays into the feminine. It gives women everything they want by putting a line suit on. So think about that mind trick of be a hero, but it's not really for yourself. It's so everyone else can approve of you. To a small degree, guys, look at him. He's powerful. He's got status. He's got a fast car. Look, girls love him. A guy doesn't have to wonder whether he's attractive to women if he's rich and powerful. It's taken as a given. But yeah, that kind of superficial, posturing, macho masculinity, that, because to me it's really telling. If you took all that stuff away from them and they couldn't be that, they couldn't buy new suits every week, they couldn't change their cars every few months or whenever they wanted, they didn't have all these things, take it away from them, are they still the same person, smile on their face, energetic, the same kind of friend? Are they? How many people do you hear about when, you know, when I lost this and I lost that, all of a sudden all my friends disappeared? Yeah. What are your friends based on? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with making money or being well off. I'm just worried that this is such a fast food fix for guys that need real nutrition because they're starving. They're in real pain. That's my worry. Look, I place myself in the same situation. Look, I'm kind of stubbornly curious, where I know when I see the golden arches when it's being fed to me, and I know when I see something green that looks like it's from nature and I'm hungry and I really need that, because I kind of get a sense of what's the medicine I need compared to giving me something that's worse than medicine. It's giving me like crap that's going to make me worse. That's going to stray me so far off course that later when I realize it's empty, I'm right back to my past pain point, yet now in my present, I'm so far off course that it's embarrassing and I'm lost. And I have no sense of who I am because so much time has passed being in a coma. Do you know what I mean? Let me know if many of you guys, whether it's under the comments section or under this in the comments here, where that's kind of what happens, is you can hide, but time strays you so far off course that you forget a connection to yourself. Like you can't remember how you even react to things anymore, let alone your memory of them. Hey, Quasimandias. How you going? I hope you're rocking back and forth on that lovely little boat of yours. I hope you say it as boat. I don't want to offend a seafarer like you. He says, interesting question. Does anyone have experience with any female mums, girlfriends, or otherwise under the age of 70 who have demonstrated the ability to be loving, supporting, and nurturing? I think I can predict a lot of very glib, posturing answers, But in all seriousness, how many women, this is a question because I ask a lot of women in my life, and women who talk about the RAPE culture out there and how hysterical they are, as though it's around every corner. You step outside and there's like a 50-50 chance. And I say, realistically, if you went out at night, just walking around, even provocative, like dressed in a very, revealing clothing, just went out at night on your own walking, what are the chances that that would happen to you? And when you kind of get them talking sort of, okay, just realistically, what are the chances that'll happen to you? You go to the shops, what's the chances that you're going to get assaulted like that? All right, something like, it's in the single digits. Even being generous, it's like, what, 2%? Not even. It's like, realistically, it's like 0.0 something percent. I don't know what the actual data is. Look it up if you can find it. And now I say, what are the percentages of women filing for divorce? What are the percentages of marriage dissolving? Tell me your experience with women, girlfriends. How many lifelong female friends do you have? What are the arguments like? Can you trust them? What are women like in terms of like honoring trust? What are they like in terms of breaking promises? Conversely, ask all these questions of men. Also, one important one is there's far more to the point of exclusivity of women saying, I prefer the company of males. I have male friends because I can't stand the backstabbing and fighting and cattiness of women compared to the other. How many men do you say, I can't stand men? I prefer the honesty, the calmness, the level-headedness of women. Doesn't happen. So it's an interesting question. How many females, mums, girlfriends are otherwise under the age of 70? And I think why Quasimandice is asking under 70, it pertains to kind of old social norms, how men and women used to conduct themselves in their own moral philosophy that's been set now because they're so old. And your moral philosophy is set. You can entertain a conversation in another, but you know yourself. You tend to know who you are. You're not really going to reinvent yourself as a person at the age of 70. Who, under the age of 70, have demonstrated the ability to be loving, supporting, and nurturing. Compared to, if you're lucky enough to have good male friends or a friend, compared to that, who can you count on? Who can you truly open up to? Especially with, let's face it, a lot of guys, and it's not just because of my channel, the thing that really kicks them in the stomach and they get demoralized more than anything in life is being betrayed when it comes to do with the person they love, their family, divorce, they can't see their children, things like that. So, and then you want to talk to someone. Most guys are embarrassed to talk to a group of men because you get hazed and taught to man up and just superficially put a suit of armor around you. And so the impulse is to, like, I'll go to what socially and my instincts tells me is a more nurturing sort of a place to go, which is a female. And the moment you sort of talk from your experience and betrayal, it's like, yeah, but not all women. They start defending femininity and not looking at you as an individual. And so in terms of that, how many women do you know in your life that have exhibited under the age of 70 the ability to be loving, supporting, and nurturing? They do to their kids, not to their children. I'm saying apart from their kids. Because women, I think nature gives women kids so they can, it's about the only way they can stay civil and care for something outside of themselves. Women are so much more solipsistic than men, so self-referential that if not for their kids, I don't think that women would even be a thing. Good question. One thing I'm trying to get better at myself is I'm going to consciously try and get better at not saying filler words like I used to think it was good because the resonance of the word I liked it in the microphone, but I don't like it in my speech. Let me know if there's things, whether it's in your speech or things you do, that some of you guys are trying to work on to sharpen your own personality in little ways. Any questions? Make sure you put emojis, otherwise I may miss them, guys, really, because it just looks like you guys are chatting, which is fine if you don't have questions. But like, for instance, I wouldn't have picked up Quasimandias's question, but I recognize his icon. But generally, I won't see a question unless you put a whole bunch of, admittedly, if you're older, stupid-looking emojis, but it's a way of me seeing them. Yeah, Tristan actually makes a good point. I was talking about joining clubs and how you can't. He says, if you join a club, be careful who you choose to join with and who's in the club too. Again, things have changed so much that you can't take it as a given. I remember a couple of years ago, I got set up with a woman, and she was in her early 40s. I went on one date, and it was like she was nice enough, but no thank you. Completely incompatible personalities. She was more a financial kind of person that was into that lifestyle. So, you know, nice person, but completely, like, you get older, you just recognize that, you know, the glove that doesn't fit you. And it was all no thank you. And she seemed fairly accepting of that. And like I said, nice person. And one question I remember, we're having a conversation, and she was saying that she started playing tennis, she started photography. And I said, oh, photography, that's interesting, I'm into that. But I found out that she was joining these groups as a social activity because she was lonely. She didn't like being at home on her own. And she was really putting an effort into trying to find someone, which I commended her for, but I kind of found it a bit sad that she had to go to that extent now. I know a lot of you guys will say, what sympathy? Who cares, human? You know, they made their bed, now they have to sleep, you know. Fine. But I kind of looked at the difference. Like, I can't actually compute with doing something that I'm not truly interested in. Okay, I can give the example of work. I have to work at a job that's not necessarily something that's me because I need money to pay the bills. Fine. Aside from that, the fact that she was joining a photography group, playing tennis, and doing these social activities, the objective was to meet people and find a partner. But I'm thinking, if you join a photography group, what are you going to have in common with someone like me who may have joined a photography group? It's an interesting question. That might be a topic for a video. Let me okay, the last video that I put up, have a look, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it under the video. If you got any questions on the last few videos that I've made this week, feel free to ask me a question in the chat. I'll be happy to try and answer them. I like doing that the couple of videos, and a few people have commented they like my shorter style of video now. What I want to do is engage in a conversation, pose an interesting, very concise kind of question in a short video, offer it to you, get your thoughts in it, read them, and then on the weekend we can discuss it like this I can discuss them more openly and spend a bit more time with you guys asking questions, and you would have pondered them, rather than me sort of blabbing for 10 to 20 minutes on one video. So I find it much more interesting, me giving you the crux of the thoughts on a topic. I enjoy putting the video together because it's not a 20-minute behemoth. Doing videos, just the 5-minute ones, enough work. But then I can bring out, like this week, I brought out 3 videos. But if I bring out other ones, I'll be lucky to do 1 a week, depending on my schedule and the topic. So James, regarding the video when she drops the act but expects you to love it anyway, that's a previous one. He says, women don't change, they reveal. That's a more concise way of saying what I've been saying in my videos, that she doesn't change. She gets tired of pretending. She gets tired of being agreeable and nice. It's like, okay, I'm nice. Do I get the job? I'm putting on a smile. I'm walking and quacking like the duck you want. Have I got the job? Is the probation period over? Good. Okay. Now I can relax because I know you can't fire me. Or if you do, I can sue you. I can take you to court. It's very hard. It's legal, you know. It's the same sort of situation. Tom M, on the same video. You date the representative, you get the real deal. But the reason I put this up isn't because of the glib statement. Remember, guys, with statements, they can make you feel good. But if they're too triumphalistic, kind of like they kind of make you feel like you're stamping on people, it's good to feel good about yourself, but don't avoid the reality of the situation. Why I put this up also, and I appreciate the comment, Tom, I'm not making fun of it or saying it's untrue. You do date the representative because people are trying to be nice and kind. If you really like them, you may believe it. Be skeptical until you spend enough time. That's why everyone, including me, says, take your time. If they're meant for you, if they're your kind of person, they're not going anywhere. You know, unless they get taken early, like, you know, they get hit by a bus or something. But you wait until you get the real deal. You don't get the real deal at the start. You get surprised, you get interested, you really want, you desire. But it's the reason why I don't like the honeymoon period myself. I want to feel comfortable. I want it to end. I like a stable relationship, if you can get it. Dirk Hex says, is there a... this was funny. Dirk Hex asked the question in the comments about women dropping the act and then still expecting you to love them after the honeymoon period and they've dropped the act, they're tired of it, and they've got the job. Like you've expressed that you're exclusive, that you love each other or whatever. And he says, is there a way to pull the mask off quicker? And the response was, just say you live in a homeless shelter. I thought that was funny. Yeah. It's another reason I'm very open in what I talk about, and I don't care. I'm just kind of pretty much an open book, and I'll say whatever. I'm not trying to impress her on the first date. I want to know everything because I'm actually genuinely interested. I'm excited to meet someone, to talk to them, to get to know them. And so that excitement plays into, yeah, what was your last relationship like? Oh, what do you think of this and that? Do you think men and women, blah, blah, blah. So have you, whatever. You know, it's kind of like you are interested, or at least like I hope you would be if you're someone who follows my work. I'm really interested to talk to someone about this because I have the optimism, because I've gotten to the stage of going on a date or meeting this person. I have the optimism, or people may say the delusion, but I think that my judgment of someone prior to going on a date with them, as best as I can vet them, I'm interested enough to be able to talk this way. And that's the other win-win of that scenario. If I'm wrong, good. If I get on the date and I start talking about all this stuff politely and still in a lighthearted way, because I do want to get to know them, and if it doesn't work out, good. They're not for me. Someone else can have them. Like I mentioned before about that very nice person, that was completely not for me. And that's what I think 90-something% of people, they get with people that are superficially attractive that you really want to like. You really, really like them. Your biology is really attracted to them. You're a combination of biology, instinct, childhood, upbringing, what you're used to, all of that stuff. This person, I want them. I want them. I want them. You're an alcoholic and they're alcohol. But you have to get to a point where your prefrontal comes in. Be interested enough. Try and pause the desire to kind of let go and let your feelings just guide you and make you jump off cliffs that you can never jump back from. So try and train yourself to go there looking to kind of have a nice conversation with I'm not saying a great friend, because I know consciously you're not, you can't fool yourself, but with the friend aspect of what you want in this person that could be a partner. So I really look forward to them having the best friend kind of aspect, or a lot of it in them, because I want to be able to have conversations with this person if they become someone in my life. Can you hear that buzzing? Someone's using a power tool or something. I apologize if you can. You probably can. This is a dynamic mic. Oh, man. See, a lot of people didn't like last week's microphone that I used in the settings, and so I changed it. I must admit it was very, very harsh, very radio-like, so for long term it's not comfortable to listen to. But this one's more comfortable to listen to. I hope it's better than last week's mic. But you can hear a cockroach scurrying around a block away with this microphone. Yeah, someone's using a power tool badly. Just the guy says, I'm cultivating the idea of becoming a sugar daddy someday, and I don't care who knows it. Fair enough, man. It's your life. Who cares says human is see more and more women around me pretend to have all these mental health issues, and it is sad to see them joke fake about serious conditions to try and attract a mate. I think TFM put it well. Women don't actually, even if a word is serious, they don't take it as seriously. Thanks, Brandon, for the super chat. I'll get to your comment in a second. I think women use words like magic. They use words to get the situation the way they want it. So if it's a serious word, they don't care if they can make the environment, if they can make it lighthearted, if they can laugh about it, they will. So women tend to use jokes more like magic to get the effect. They sprinkle it on a situation to make you feel shamed, or make you feel bad, or make you feel happy, or make themselves feel like they're part of the conversation. But the meaning of the words themselves don't matter as much. Whereas I think the opposite's more true for guys. If what we say doesn't mean what it says, then we really need to. We can't just sort of sprinkle it like meaningless spice over everything. It needs to sort of mean what it is. The effect of it later on, if it's positive or negative, is what it is. and you try to use good language and you try to be civil and you try to have manners. But I think with guys, we know that the meaning of the word in and of itself is the most important thing. Because without it, we're just kind of muttering words. Women use it much more skillfully in terms of adjusting the mood and feeling of the situation. So the meaning doesn't matter as much. But yeah, I've heard women sometimes joke about serious things, even in front of someone. The lack of tact, where men kind of stop themselves. They kind of know not to make a joke about the state of a person, how a person looks, their weight or whatever, and they're in front of them. Women don't care how many times, you know, your hair or you look a certain way, you come in the situation and they'll embarrass you in front of someone. Oh my God, you're wearing that. Who cut your hair? Or you meet a girl and you're telling her, oh, I love my car. Oh my God, your car's so ugly. I hate the color. When are you going to get rid of it? And she knows you care about it. They really, a lack of tact or lack of caring, I don't know what it is. Whereas it's not the same with a guy. Generally, yes, for a lot of the typical women out there, although I know they're not on my channel. Whenever you say something, of course, I'm not saying every single man or woman. I'm saying generally. I always say, if you picked 1,000 people out there and took a survey of random 1,000 people, what answers would you get? What actions, what personalities would you get? That's what I'm talking about. I wish it were true. I wish the minority of women that are out there would start to be more of the middle. Just the middle of the bell curve. They don't have to be most of society. They don't have to be the majority of modern women. At least if we can get 50% of it, that would be a lot of the complaints would stop. And it might start tipping things the other way. Myrtlefoot says, I was open and true, and where did it get me here at home all alone? But would you have a happy life having to always put a mask on all the time? Never being able to talk to the person, having to jump through hoops, walk like a duck, quack like a duck, and the only place you can actually relax and feel truly at ease is maybe with your friends or alone in a video game or somewhere talking to other people. I can't throw my life so many hours and days away and just have, as the term in Braveheart was, just have the scraps of Longshanks's table thrown at me in terms of, you know, I only give myself scraps of time through the week. I can't do it, man. Like, and it's not being me. People think, oh, you're being idealistic, human. You just got to accept it. You know, you've got to give a woman 95% of you, and of you that you don't want to give, and the way you don't want to act, because then you get that 5% that you desperately want or that you dearly enjoy. It is not anywhere approaching fair. I've always said, worst case scenario, I will give a woman who's really great to me at least 70 to 80% of whatever I can, because I don't need much. At least give me 20. But realistically, I want it to be closer to the 50-50 conversational back and forth tennis where we get along. But man, if you don't even get, you know, a couple of percent, it's single digits. And when they do give it to you, they make you grateful. Like, oh, look at the scraps I'm giving you. You better be grateful. It's like, are you kidding me? It should really annoy people. I don't know why it doesn't annoy them more when they're in front of the girl. It annoys guys later because they realize how much they were used. But you have to... I'm making a video about it. It'll be the next couple of videos about... The title of the video is going to be something about how the turning point for me when I went from not saying anything in terms of if a woman says crude things, insults you, insults people you care about. How I went from saying nothing and being a super nice guy to actually, when they're being obnoxious and saying obnoxious things and not treating you well, how it went from being quiet and nice to actually speaking up. So I think it's an important video. It'll be released probably in the coming week. And I think it might help some guys. Maybe. I don't know. But I was thinking about, because I was a typical guy before. I'm very much more an introvert. But I hate... I love being at home, you know, doing my stuff, creating stuff. So I like that space. But if something's wrong in my life with people in my life, family or friends, or if you've got a girlfriend, I can't pretend it doesn't exist. I can't enjoy my introverted hobbies like art and writing and illustration and whatever, or even making videos. I can't actually come up with the ideas that excite me because the excitement's being taken over by stress and an issue that hasn't been resolved. When I've had partners, I can't go to bed angry. I just can't. I can't sleep, and that annoys me more because I want to dissipate it. I want it resolved. I want some sort of finality. I can't understand how guys can live with so much of themselves non-existent in their personal lives. Let's put it that way. How can you enjoy your personal life when you're not allowed to exist in there? Just in a natural, relaxed way, the way you normally are, the way your family and friends just happily accept you and like who you are and can be around you. Why the mother of your kids, the person you're living with, your girlfriend, the central person in your life, now that you're an adult living away from home? I don't know. If you can do it, good luck to you. See you in my comments section. Mr. Highway says, I think escapism is a major problem for society. We are hooked into it. Video games, parties, alcohol, drugs, social media, TV, the list is endless. We have nothing real anymore. It's uncanny. Yeah. I think it's why also this year I introduced the topic of try and consider everything a relationship, because so many things have changed. Everything's been so depersonalized. Just try and consider everything as a relationship. It might make things easier because the world has changed in such a way. Because if it's just kind of, it's starting to become, when you're talking about human interaction, I've started to notice people just don't have any handles to hold on to that conversation, but they can hold on to things. So whatever relationships you have, whether they're your video games, tech, art, whatever it is, people are doing it more and more isolated. They're having relationships solo now. Everything is, including now if you're lucky enough to have a good friend or a lover or a person you connect with. Look at everything that you connect with and whether or not it's honestly working, fulfilling. Does it give back? If I sit down to write, it usually gives back. It may be work, but the work gives back. The effort you put into, if you're lucky enough to have a partner that you enjoy spending time with, that you're compatible with, very important. The most important thing, I'd say, if you want any kind of long-term companionship, or even short-term. These guys that say, oh, hooking up's easier and safer. It's like, yeah, are you really? You are rolling the dice with your eyes closed. You could be going to bed with a psycho, someone who's ruined people's lives before you, and you don't know that, and you're going to be the next one. How do you know? So I think it's far more riskier, but anyway, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, today, consider everything a relationship. So if you can calibrate yourself to everything's a relationship, including everyone, it's just a nice umbrella way to have a light switch mode of, does it fit with me? Is there a back and forth give and take in this relationship? Whatever I give into the person or the thing, is it giving back to me? Or is it a frustrating one-way street? I think simple concepts like that can make you rethink a lot of things. Who cares, says Human, what do you think is happening with parenting these days that have brought these... I'll put up the video. It's probably relating to single mothers that have brought this change. I know social media has changed things too, but everyone is too disconnected and fearful of connection. What has happened to parenting? Everything we talk about, basically everything's connected to it and has come from it. So everything from Tinder, girl power, women in the work, just a lot of stuff. A lot of the candy store, the McDonald's that's being fed to women. And I'm not saying poor women. It's kind of like, you know, McDonald's is advertised to a lot of us, and we still know our limit and how much we let it into our lives, if at all. So, and even people who are very idealistic, they become vegans if they feel like it. At least they stand for something. They know what is right for them. So in the same way, these women that sort of say, oh, I nearly said the word. When they say girl power, I lie to them. It's like, maybe. Advertising lies to us all the time. It's whether or not you're conscious enough and you want to be honest enough to believe it, or just say, well, it's not my fault. I drive past McDonald's every day. I can't help it. No responsibility, sorry. Okay, fine, okay. Because you know the advertising is not going to stop. The only power you got is to be honest and say no. This is right, this isn't. Thank you, No, for the donation. I appreciate it. Donna says, for my when I was posing what percentage is realistic for women getting, you know, assaulted in the worst way, because I can't say the word, at night, and Donna says in Frankston where she lives it's 2%, and she goes out often. Yeah, I know it's in single digits. It's low single digits realistically, the chance of women getting assaulted in the worst way when they go out on their own, especially at night. Not that you want to risk that chance anyway, but women are sensible enough not to do it, at least most of them. But actually not today. Sometimes when I was allowed to go out at night, I enjoy jogging at night when the streets are empty. It's really peaceful and it's really meditative for me. And I just sort of put my headphones on, or sometimes without any music, and just kind of the stillness of the night is beautiful. I'm amazed when I'm running at night how many young teenage girls walking back from the station in mini skirts, they just look like eye candy for the worst kind of guys. And I'm kind of a biggish guy. I'm 6'1", and I've got my hoodie on running at night. I look like the guy that could potentially do that to you. And they don't care. They've got their headphones. They've got their heads down to their phones, wearing nothing, walking the streets at night, not a care in the world. This is the disconnection from reality to nature, to animals, to the reality and the state of like the living world, right? That you're so conditioned by your politics that you think you're entitled to subvert nature. Like, I would never, right? Like, I'm not that guy, but Jesus, it's kind of like, and then they'll have news stories. Donna will attest to this. A couple of years ago, there was a case of some chick that got assaulted in a park, and here in Melbourne, and there was a big thing, and all the red-headed girl power hags came out, and again, it was, you know, about how bad men were, and it's men's fault. No, it was that man's fault. And I still remember there was this chief police officer that came out, like a head, and he came out denouncing how horrible this act was, that this girl got abused, and I think the person assaulted her in the worst possible way. You know, the word beginning with R and ending with ape. And I think he kind of ended her as well. And this police officer, this sergeant, lieutenant, whatever he was, he had kids, and he was talking from a place of real kind of like real concern. He hated what happened, and he went on TV and he said, for the love of God, like, parents, you need to watch where your kids are. You need to pay attention where they're going, alone at night and whatever. He was talking from that point of view. Every girl power sociopath came on and denounced him by saying, what? So it's our fault now? Women aren't allowed to walk at night? And it's like, for Christ's sake, fine. Go out. I hope you're fine. Whatever happens to you, I have zero sympathy. Seriously, I have zero sympathy for these people anymore. You can't keep trying to put your arm around people in a form of understanding, and because they're shouting at you, oh, we want things fixed, we're in danger. Okay, let me put my arm. Like, no, get lost, and they stab you. Like, it's your fault. It's like, okay, starve. I don't care. I'm just sick of it. Go. Do what you want. Risk your life. Be an idiot. I have zero sympathy. I don't care. I really don't. I've lost my patience with these idiots. Like, I used to be a bit, don't be too hard. It was a bad situation. But if I can't actually... This policeman was actually, in a heartfelt way, as a father to a daughter, saying, don't let this happen again, mums and dads. This is a way so this doesn't happen again. No, we should be allowed to. Fine, do it. Jump out of a plane without a parachute. Do the most riskiest thing. Do the thing that will give you the highest probability of this happening to you. Even if it's 2%, make sure as much as possible you hit that 2%. Try really hard, you moron. Go for it. Same kind of idiots that blame McDonald's for getting fat. Go for it. Stuff your face. Blame McDonald's. I get my back up with that stuff. It's so petulant. EC 2189 Kaku, thank you very much for the donation. He says, I have thought there's a limitation within the fake it until you make it frame of mind. Relating to this video, I think there needs to be truthfulness to it, or substance, in order that confidence to be authenticated. Yeah, which is why I say always talk, know how to express yourself. Don't avoid topics. Whatever you do, I know the instinct is there as a guy, as a girl. You like the person, you don't want them to go away. And you want to keep chit-chat on the surface. You want to keep it all flowers and sunshine. But my impulse is, I want to get intimate with this person, and it's not going to happen from a distance of externality. It's not going to be, and it's not like, oh, you're not going to get into their pants if you don't sort of hit those buttons that'll lead to the bedroom. In a similar way, hit the buttons that will lead to overall intimacy. If you look at this person and go, man, I really find them physically attractive. Wouldn't it be great? I'd love to date this person. I want this person to be my girlfriend, right? If you do want that, say everything you can to get her into that zone. Like, I want her to be mine. I don't want a stranger in my bed. That'll happen. If you just like them for that, fair enough. Do what you want. Take the risk. Good luck, man. I hope the cops don't come knocking on your door during the week with every stranger you rotate through your bed. But I think it's the same impulse that, say, biologically drives you to, you want them in your bed. Mine is like, I really like this person. I like their personality. And so I will say everything. I'll put it out there because I want to make it a reality. I don't want to hope, but bring nothing out that's going to legitimize and make it real. I want it real, so I will ask and say everything so they know my character, they know what I think about things, and in so doing, maybe bring out their opinion too, so I can know that too. So this can actually happen, not two people at a distance behind glass trying to have a relationship. I've been there when I was younger, and it's horrible. The best relationships I've had are when I stopped trying to have them behind that safety of glass. Let them burn and end right away, because at least it's less painful. You pretend and you start a serious relationship with someone you really don't know, you don't feel comfortable with, you're walking on eggshells, you need to edit yourself. F that. No. Then you're going to start that. You need to split yourself in two personalities then all the time. You're one way with family and friends, and then you're another way with her, and then you're another way at work, and then you're just kind of just pulling yourself apart in every direction. You already have to put on a figurative suit, whether or not you have to, when you go to work. You need to formalize yourself there. Aside from that, you should live your life less formally, and when you're with your lover, and especially because you're going to be naked with them, that's a physical representation of figuratively how you should be with her. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, look, all I can do is reference what I know and my experience from my generation. And you guys can laugh. I know the youth always laughed. I did too. I didn't laugh. I kind of like, yeah, mum, dad, everyone, like, I know you're saying not to touch the hot stove, but I need to know for myself. Okay, but how many times do you need to keep touching the hot stove of having the types of relationships that leave you empty, alone, frustrated? They have to keep chasing the next dopamine hit. When do you get tired of chasing? Don't you feel like you want to retire into a comfortable life for a period of time at least, if not for the long term? I don't know. Craw Stuff, thank you very much for the super chat donation. He says, his luck with that, oddly drunks don't use as much as the sobers. I'm not sure what you mean, Craw Stuff. His luck with that, oddly drunks don't use them as much as the sobers. I'm not sure what that means. Randall says, what am I working on? Smiling when I talk and being softer in my language. I tend to get pretty intense and technical, and it puts people off. Yeah. Look, it's good to learn how to have tact, because you also kind of appreciate how people would treat you in just like a general rule of civil discussion and the demeanor by which someone comes across. Like, there's a range of normal civil discourse, how you would interact politely with someone in the supermarket, someone you don't know, a polite hello, excuse me, and all that kind of stuff. People kind of know, but even that's being lost. But yeah, I'm, like I said, I didn't say I'm trying not to say anymore and be okay with silence between words and sentences. I am trying to learn to listen more in conversations, especially in conversations I have a lot to offer and I'm excited to tell you about. Letting people speak more, because I have a tendency, my passion tends to kind of burst the dam, and I need to get better at, not holding things back, but not interrupting and allowing people to speak and listen more. So I'm working on my listening. Let's see some more of the comments. Mr. Awesome, regarding the video, your macho act doesn't matter if she's acting too. Yeah, relating to a lot of the macho posturing of PUA and the hookup culture kind of thing that's going around today, where it's just act a certain way to get them into bed and then toss them away. You don't really need to reveal who you are. But then the less of you that gets revealed, the less you're actually living in life. That actually, you don't exist in life as much if you're never actually representing you. And you feel emptier and emptier. He says, the art of manliness is just like playing poker. You underplay your hand when you're strong and you bluff like crazy if you're weak. Yeah. I think what he's getting at is women bluff like crazy when they're acting, when they're so agreeable. And sometimes it's, you need to kind of be a bit skeptical. If you meet a woman and you think, my God, how is someone so gorgeous and great? How can they be single? Especially the older you are. Like, that's one thing. You get into your 30s and 40s and you come across a gorgeous person who seemingly is agreeable and is really nice to be around. And when you ask her about her past, she kind of, her response is like, I don't know. I've just been unlucky. It's like, I don't know if I can believe you. Let me see over time. And then over conversation, you start seeing your reactions. You start seeing, I know exactly why you're so attractive yet still single. Because guys will forgive a lot for a beautiful woman, but no matter how beautiful, if she's hamstrung by so many character defects, an awful personality, anger, mental issues, selfishness that's beyond anything that you can be with, that's like, it's so far away from fair or considerate that they need a straitjacket, that they probably need the restraint of medication. I don't know. The Elridge God says, women are human beings, men are human doings. Personally, wouldn't have it any other way. I like being judged for my achievements. Yeah, there's a part of actually that I don't mind being. I actually like being a human doing, but you've got to make sure that your human doing, you don't throw it away, especially on the wrong person. And your human doing is for you first and foremost. Like the stuff that I really get a lot out of doing, a lot of my hobbies and my lifestyle that I'm a very much a doing person. I do a lot, and I'm very generative. I self-generate a lot of my stuff. If there's no work to be done for other people, like if I'm not doing my job, if I'm not, at my day job, if I don't have things to do, I will create work, fulfilling work for myself that will develop my skills. It's kind of a win-win. So I make videos, I get better at certain things. Like I kind of generate my reality, so to speak. I'm kind of, how can I put it? I've never felt like I'm a person that's just placed in life and I have to deal with it. I always generate my reality. I make work, I make my life interesting. I have hobbies. I create things to look forward to getting up for. So it's a part of my self-control nature. I'm very much a control freak, and I'm very inquisitive. And yeah, I admit I've got that switch in me. I don't know how it was before I could actually verbalize it. In my early 20s, when I felt it, I just trusted the instinct. Like, no, I don't want to get married. I probably will, but I don't know why I don't want to get married. So that's the feeling I had. Like, it doesn't feel right. So I said, I'll delay it, because not right now. That felt good. Then over time, I started to realize I don't want it. I don't want kids. I don't want that lifestyle. That's not me. Rob G says, are the lost art of being oneself. Yeah. People look, people can get overly philosophical as a way to avoid taking responsibility for living a life more in accordance with what feels comfortable for you. And what I mean by that is some people say, well, what is being yourself? You know, I think that's a overly philosophical idea. You know, when you let go with your family and friends, what being yourself is. You don't have to try. You don't have to kind of beg for approval. You don't have to put a mask on. Yeah, sure, you may have fallen into hobbies and pastimes in these friends, and there's been a mode of being interested in certain topics to relate to these people. I get it. But the mode in which you can just say what you feel and not walk on eggshells, that's what I mean. Just a general sense of, I can relax and talk. I can laugh. I can have my sense of humor. I know it's not perfect, but that's what I mean. Just the general sense of comfort in expressing yourself. It's amazing how many people lexically use word salad, and here I am using $100 words like lexically, to get out of the responsibility of what they should do and what's just kind of just in a relaxed sense, normal. So be yourself. What is the self? I can't stand that kind of philosophy. I like practical philosophy. I like, when you look at the Stoics, and you look at anything philosophical, I'm a much more an ethical person than I am a ephemeral, rainbow-like, no foundations, kind of woo-woo, philosophical mumbo-jumbo person, which probably isn't surprising. I don't find you can control your life as much with glib sayings that can maybe make you feel good in the moment but don't provide any long-term benefit. Basically, the stuff that a lot of women post as memes on their Facebook feeds and social media feeds that just sound good and make you just feel good now. Like, it's okay. Things will work out. Things happen for a reason. Like, okay, seems nice. It's a verbal way of letting go and not thinking about the problem. I don't like that kind of philosophy. Mine is like, yeah, okay, but I don't want this to happen again. Tell me that in a similar way where it can lean to the future, if you know what I mean. Nothing says I have to stop using big words around certain people. Yeah, look, me too. You've got to have a bit of social awareness. If you can tell a person's lexicon and you can tell their level of understanding in the same way you talk to, if you can understand someone's just an immigrant or they've come from overseas and they don't have a good grasp of the English language, I'm not going to talk like this. I'm going to kind of lower myself to be polite. And it's not that I'm demeaning them. I want to kind of be able to converse with them. Excuse me. I should have done this. Anyway. Ticklish throat. For any of you gearheads, the equipment I'm using today is I'm streaming through my Canon EOS R with a 24mm Sigma 1.4, a variable ND filter over the lens, through an HDMI cable, through Slob's Streamlabs OBS, for you guys who don't know the acronym, and Lewitt 440 Pure, running through my Go XLR. So that's how all this is being held together with straw and clay. ISH says, for someone who was raised by a single mother and in his 40s, which is better, putting a manly mask on or being a weak and not caring? Is it possible to act like an alpha and eventually become one? I think if you take advice and you latch onto the things that intuitively seem like that seems true for me. You know, when you read something or you hear someone say something, not because they look shiny and alpha, but because it says something to you. It's like it feels in, it speaks to you in a way. It's like, yes, that's part of my personality that was broken, or I could never work out, but you said it in a certain way. It's more what words can get you to generate thoughts or make you think of yourself, rather than saying, I'm just going to act like him. I'm going to talk like him. I'm going to look like him. I'm going to be him. I'm going to forget, like, I don't like who I am. You have to like who you are, accept who you are, and then cherry pick from different people. And when you, a word or a phrase or a way of being or a philosophy or a way of mentoring speaks to you because it connects with who you are, take that on board. Men should be like those birds that cherry pick and take things that feed them. Don't just adopt another person's personality. That's the thing that I was trying to get at in my last video about faking it until you fall apart, because you will fall apart eventually. And if you fake it as being one of these alpha dude bro PUA guys, and you get one of these awful women that they show in their videos, which I don't know why you would want one of those women, you will hit your wall and you'll crash even harder because of the distance you are from who you naturally were as a person. And I just think it's just bad news. So I don't think you should fake it until you make it. I think you should try and honestly take advice that connects with what works for you. Again, if you're an introvert, know you're an introvert and take advice that speaks to your personality. If you're naturally an introvert trying to become an extrovert, put on the suit of another person's personality. That is a hard climb, and you're acting, because that's not naturally a mode in you. It's not hardwired in you. And you could argue, well, it's always caused me problems, so why wouldn't I do it? It depends on the degree to which you want to wear a mask. I'm naturally an introvert, but it's far better becoming an ambivert, where if you're in one state, you learn to socialize yourself in another state while still retaining who you are and your interests. So all my interests are very introverted. How I talk to people, talking philosophically, is a very introverted leaning, I would suggest. So I'm still wholly introverted, but I've learned how to socialize that introversion. I learned how to be me out in the world and to connect with people who are more me. I can still be civil and polite to people who aren't me. I know how to conduct myself, but I'm not going to have intimate relationships with them. I can't. There are people, there are different types of personalities that when you kind of know who you are more, you know you can, there's only a level to which you can have relationships with them. You can't. Otherwise, you're faking it. You need to fake it more for them, just to be with them because you're lonely or you feel some sort of need to be with them, or they have to do it to you. It's like putting up with a job that you don't like for the money. You have to lean more into their world because you need them more. But when it comes to personal relationships, I would argue it needs to be reciprocal as much as possible. Or at least have to get at least your fill and then give the remainder to the other person. Sometimes you only need 20% to be compatible and you don't care about the rest, so you're fine giving 80. But you need to be very conscious about what you need and who you are. Let me know also with this microphone, guys, is it too detailed? Can you hear every little bit of clicking? I hate that because I'm not monitoring myself. And yes, I know some people say I should, but when I'm monitoring myself, I'm not used to it. And I can't feel, when I'm actually streaming one-on-one, when I'm just talking one-on-one to people or in chat groups where I can't see them, there's not this visual aspect. And if I'm on Discord, I do monitor myself sometimes and it's easier. But like this, I feel like I'm in a group, and when I've got my cans on, it feels like I'm not part of the socially hanging out with you as much. So I feel much more comfortable speaking to you guys without headphones. I feel like I'm isolating myself a bit. Maybe I need to get over it. So let me know if the audio is a bit too detailed. or if it's smooth enough that it's easy to listen to. Cool, we've got a fair few people today. We've got around 250. Hot Ice says, it would seem to me that men get caught up in acting macho because the world is constantly pummeling everyone with different ideas of what a real man is. Would you agree, human? Yeah. People want to people want friends. People don't like being alone. You want to, like, even writing, like, or doing art. Why do you publish it? Why do you draw a picture and show it to someone? You want some sort of conversation to happen. Why? Like, my thoughts are my own. My YouTube channel is basically my video diary of my thoughts, and I'm letting you see it. Why don't I keep it to myself? Because I want to have a conversation with someone. It's very hard to live on your own here all the time. And if you're expressive and you want to hear your thoughts, you can't just talk to yourself all the time. You want to hear, sometimes hearing what you think, like listening to the thoughts come out of your head through your mouth. There's something very cathartic and liberating, like you knowing what you think of something. You knowing your philosophy by what you're saying. It's a really nice foundation to make you more sure of yourself. If it's a herd of cats always in your head, which is just feelings, it's not formalized through language. You're not speaking it. And the best way to speak it is to socially speak it like this, publish it some way to someone face to face or on the internet, or that's why I think people find social media popular. It's like, it's a form of low level publishing that at least checks that box of the human need to socialize, to have a conversation. It's a very dissociated form, but it's a very dehumanized form, but I think that's what it is. Oh, can I say it now? Big jump. Okay. My stream just jumped a fair bit. So if I've missed anyone's super chat, I apologize if you've actually added a question to it, especially. Yeah, Mr. Highway makes a good point. He says, anyone else think it's strange to expect two people who have no relation and are complete strangers to pair bond for life? A man and wife has no relation. They are just two random people. They are, but if you want to enjoy your time with a person, as compatible as you can objectively be, the better you'll have, the better time you'll have. Because unfortunately, in theory, it's harder. It's easier to be around someone, friends, family, lovers. I love my isolated time. True, but some people ask, why do you leave the door open for a relationship, human? Because when I've had good partners, the ambience of my life is just that much better in an unquantifiable way. I can't tell you why. I can only say it feels better when you're with a compatible person. And you pragmatists and you sciencey people, mathematical people, statistic people will laugh at that. Look, I don't disagree with you wholly, but I just know my experience. Like, I like my life, I really do. And if my life continues like this, I will have no qualms about it. I will enjoy my life. It's great. But it gets the kind of the warmth, the ambience with a nice person, just having someone around you, even if they're in the next room. You, like, if I'm doing something, just having someone in the next room, they're not bothering you. It just kind of adds a warmth to it. Anyway. But you don't need it. But yeah, it can be nice, but it's up to you. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. How long have we been going? An hour and a half. All right, guys. Let's not go past 2 hours. So if you've got any questions, particularly relating to my last video, fake it until you fall apart, single mothers who act like their daughters, or your act doesn't matter if she's acting too at the start. So a lot of guys who kind of try and game and frame women at the start, she's covertly gaming and framing you if she's acting agreeable to your alpha act. So something to think about. So any final questions, guys? Ask them with a few emojis in front so I can see them. And we'll head for the finish line. Yeah, Crystal says, stop putting your arm around people who kick you in the nuts for it. Yep, amen. Especially as guys. Stop trying to pet dogs that bite you. Christian says, sympathy for those who accept their faults and seek change. If a person's willing to take a step and acknowledge what the issue is, then I can continue to sort of be in that conversation. So, but I can't care more than the person does. Same with women today. It's like, I can't care about your child more than you do. Sorry, don't care. Yeah, but I'm a single mom and you know, I've been taking these substances and it's like, I don't care. If you're not going to get yourself clean for your kids, you want me to care more about your kids than you do about what you take? You want me to care more about your health, your weight, all these things more than you do? It belongs to you. They're yours. Don't foist it on me. I can, in a secondary way, if I feel like giving you the scraps of time, sympathy, effort, money, whatever it is you're asking. But don't demand it of me. Don't try and shame me into caring more about your health, your kids, your life than you. Get lost. No. You're mean. Don't care. Don't care. You don't care about... You obviously only care about me giving to you. No, don't care. Keep letting your kids suffer because you don't want to lift a finger. Okay, trying to read any last questions in the stream. Yeah, this is a good point. Brown Knight R says, in the past, the community helped the men to keep frame. Now it's the opposite. Yeah, the social structure kept men and women in their own frame, and they made each other aware to stay in their respective lanes. Now, no, it's like, now we're all individuals, and everyone has to accept me. If people don't accept me, it's their problem. No, it's your problem if no one wants to be around you. You're not the sun that everyone rotates around. Some of these questions are very broad and I don't know how to answer them. Remember, if you want to ask a question, put some emojis. Dan's right for mental health. Says the hot stove consists of a lot of money if you're not careful. 2 ex-wives and a ton of money. Listen to us oldies and save yourself. Donna says her dad is on wife number 3. Ooh. It's funny when, not funny, sometimes a bit sad when the children are more adults than the parents. It's kind of like you jump out of a plane with a parachute, without a parachute. You survive. Mate, I'll try jumping out again without a parachute. You survive. Maybe again. Okay. Lat QCD92 says, men are just intimidated by strong women, I guess. I think he's being funny. Yeah, don't you just hate those, like, you talk about something seriously and someone just throws shame at you? You just can't get laid. You're just intimidated. I was like, okay. Anel says, what's the difference, a human, what's the difference between the truth and your truth? There's no your truth. There's just the truth. There's your opinion, your experience, your empirical experience. I don't like that. I think Oprah coined it. This is my truth. It's your reality. It's your opinion. I think we should leave the word truth as objective. We shouldn't sort of put it in the subjective realm. I know it makes you feel better. It makes a lot of people feel better by saying, this is my truth. It's just kind of, look, there's, lexically, it's not completely like wrong or inaccurate, but it's just going to lead to so much rubbish. It's going to make you think that anything you feel is completely true, as a lot of people do today. Anel continues, a lot of women today talk about their truth. It seems like a way to dodge accountability. Yeah, there you go. You just kind of said what I said. There is no your truth. There's your opinion, your experience, your point of view. There is only truth and everything else. But then again, look, what's considered objectively true can sometimes change too. The world used to be objectively flat. That was the truth. Then it wasn't. But I think we're sensible enough to know the difference between capital T truth and lower T your experience or so the difference between objectivity and subjectivity. Like, for instance, a lot of stuff I talk about, or if I give examples referencing my experience with women, I'm not saying my experience with women is the absolute truth. I reference my examples of what I went through as anecdotal, subjective examples that confirm more objective truths, statistics, how women act, female nature, middle of the bell curve, typical women, what women are like today, social media, the world in general. That's capital T truth, generally. My experiences aren't capital T truth. It's not my truth, it's my experience, which is one of the most important calibrating factors that I have. What I've been through, what has been true for me, not capital T true, but what has been true in my experience, I take very seriously because I've had direct, empirical, tactile example that keeps repeating itself. It's not a fluke, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily true, capital T, universally for everyone else. Phil D says, men are easy to please, women pick ones that they can't please. Men are easy to please. It's not that they pick ones they can't please. It's women don't care about the person, the guy, very much. He's superficially attractive because of his status, power, money, whatever, generally for most women. They don't really care about the person. If they cared about the person, there'd be more pain with the loss of them afterwards. They take longer to get back on the horse and get into a relationship. And I think studies pretty unequivocally show that when women cheat, they cheat emotionally, whereas most men just cheat like sport. You know, we wanna have fun on the side. If they have an affair, they won't leave their wife for this person on the side. A man will have an affair the same way he goes to an escort or a prostitute. It's nothing to do with home and who he loves. I'm not saying it's right, but the way both men and women cheat is very different. With men, it's very much more emotionless. It's like playing sport. It's just a pure physical release. It's not. It's it's very rare that the guy will leave a happy home, and it's also, look, I acknowledge, like a guy that's happy at home wouldn't be cheating anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of, you look throughout history too. Brandon Silver, thank you very much for the donation. He says, referencing Mr. Highway, Mr. Snoop Dogg said that being a husband and a family man makes him a positive male role model. That implies that not being married with a family or being single means that one is not someone to look up to. Not necessarily. I wouldn't take it that way. He says it makes him a positive male role model, and I'd say it does. If you're a happy father and husband, you wanted that, and you're proud, and you've picked sensibly, objectively, and consciously, and you can actually express that and talk and mentor guys who want to get married and so on and so forth, I think you are a good role model for guys who want that life, especially. It does not mean that if you're not that, you're nothing. Don't fall into the trap that many how can I put it? Many SJW people fall into, that if I positively talk about something, it does not mean that I'm completely against what I'm not speaking about. So if I say, I think this is really good, so if I say, I think chocolate is great, I don't like today how a lot of the left is like, say, what are you saying? You hate chocolate? Sorry, you hate coffee, you hate strawberry. It's like, for Christ's sake, I didn't say that. I'm saying I'm for this. If I'm for this, it doesn't mean I'm against other things. You can ask me, are you against this? And I'll let you know. Then you can know that they're against it. But the implication, it's this whole society of like, it's the Jordan Peterson thing. So what you're saying is like, no, that's what you're saying. You keep implying and inferring things from what I said. If I'm saying I'm for something, I'm for that. I have not said what I'm against. It may suggest, but if you want to confirm that, ask me, and I'll tell you definitively if I'm against A, B, or C. I like this microphone. It doesn't mean I hate every other microphone. If he actually did say things that would make you know that he thought being single was awful, then yeah, I agree with you there. So if you were saying, well, if you're not a father, then you're just wasting your life, and I think you're a useless human being, and you got no purpose, and being a father is the only thing, otherwise it's pointless. You may as well, you know, that's different. But I'm getting to the statements of people answering whether or not my microphone is okay. People are saying it's good. Hey, Boffin, how you going? B Mix says, I think human is maybe an audiophile. Gee, you think? You think? I actually, I think I know the things I'm obsessed with. At heart, who I am is a storyteller. I've always written, drawn stories, I've illustrated. So any bit of tech that can assist me in telling a story, microphone, camera, keyboard, you know. Oh, actually, let's get in focus. What a beautiful thing. Isn't she beautiful? Basically, any bit of tech that can help me make a story and create what I'm passionate about doing, which is creating some sort of stories. Pencils, paper, any kind of artistic equipment, just anything. I fall in love with it because it's part of the forensic detail of making things look and sound and feel and communicating the end thing the way I want to. So maybe an audiophile? No, I am an audiophile amongst other things too. Just look at how I react to anyone mentioning the things I'm passionate about. Like, I'll answer questions to do with like my channel and like the topics of philosophy and men, women, socially, like my points of view. But have you noticed when someone asks me about my camera or microphone or gear or tools that I use, I'm sort of, my eyes light up like you're talking about Christmas. See, even this question, Dario, thank you very much for your super chat donation. I appreciate it. But even your question, my mind goes to the things I'm passionate about. And I automatically thought you were talking about technology, but you're not. You said, what are your thoughts about the Sigma personality? And when I read, I thought, what are your thoughts about the Sigma personally, as in the Sigma lens I'm using? But you're not talking about my Sigma lens. You're talking about the Sigma versus Alpha. Are Sigmas just an introverted alpha? Yeah. Maybe? I don't know. That's a way of looking at it, yeah. They're kind of nice. There's a lot of philosophical things that can make you think, and they're interesting. If they're good ways of making you understand yourself and the people you relate to, great. But if they're just kind of fun toys to play with philosophically and then just like let go of, like people who kind of chew on a lot of philosophical mumbo jumbo that's not practical, the what is truth people, I think that's kind of a bit useless, waste of time. But Sigma personality, yeah, I could get on board with that. A Sigma is an introverted alpha, maybe, but I don't like that alpha, Sigma, beta kind of thing. It's too much connected to, the animal world. Alphas don't have a short life, and the whole point of alphas, it's very connected to the women that they can get. And a lot of the alphas, they obliterate any other males around them to get the women. They get all the women, they get the harem. So it's still all centered around women. So the idea of alpha is all the women want you, you get them all, and you obliterate all the men around you. So it's not the kind of masculinity that I'm really for. Human single men used to get shamed into getting married by being called GAY, which no longer works. Now you are shamed into marriage by being called an INCEL. Think it will work? Nah, even I've noticed very quickly over the last couple of years, it's kind of like very little of the stuff that used to shame men now works because there's nothing to be shamed against. When we valued women more, it was like like for instance, the cliche one was like, oh, you can't get a woman. It's like, good. Who wants them? Look at them now. It's like, you can't shame me, because it's like I'm not being shamed against something that's valuable that I want. So now a lot of this shame is like, it doesn't work, because what it's shaming you against, you don't care about anymore as well. So it's like, you can't get laid. Like, who cares? Like, it's so much out there. Tinder and people hooking up, it's kind of like people know it doesn't have the mystique and the reverence it once did. Ooh, like it was very hard. It's always been harder for guys to get laid. But before, when it used to be more, you might have one or two girlfriends, but then you kind of settle down, you find one, because it's very hard to find that oasis. Now, if you really try it, you can game yourself, you can make your profile, you can curate it, make yourself look better than what you are. You can fake it all. There's more chance of just getting your wick wet out there. So it's not hard, it's not special, and people kind of see the magic trick now. It's like the mystique is gone, and so being shamed against all that is laughable now. It's like, oh, big deal, who cares? I know what it is. It's just, it's nothing more. But that used to be wrapped around with a lot more meaning in life, stuff that you wanted. You could enjoy spending time. Like, you could enjoy spending time more around a woman even when you weren't sleeping with her. Now it's like you can't even talk to them. They have nothing to say. They're empty, or they talk like these girl power chicks, and stuff they say is just kind of memes. And what do you think about this? Like, either they'll say they don't know, you think too much, you're overthinking, or as my ex used to say, I'm being too negative, simply because I'm trying to talk philosophically about something. Don't question is basically the thing. Don't question, human. Like, I'm not being negative. Don't you find this interesting? Like, I don't want to think. Okay. I'll have a relationship with that side of me on my own. And with you, it'll just be this and doing stuff that every couple does. That's like, why am I going out with you when you're as good as anyone else? There's nothing specifically interesting about you. You're all body and going out. That's all you are. You get older, you want more meaning in your life. If you can't get it with a person, you're happy to just have it on your own. Phil D says, should SHIT tests from her be an indication of fragility or insecurities? I wouldn't actually see them as tests. I would just see them as interesting discussions. Both of you interrogate each other in a fun way on a date because you want to know these things. You want to call them SHIT tests, fine, but don't look at them as like this kind of like good cop, bad cop interrogation. They manipulate. It's like, no, let it all out. Let her let it out on you. You should not be afraid of answering questions, sensible ones, not like what's your PIN number, but sensible ones about knowing about who you are. You should actually want it. You should addictively go on dates, meeting girls, like addictively wanting to figuratively disrobe each other to see as much of the real person. Like, for me, it's like a really nice, liberating feeling when I can let it all out and a person finds it interesting. And similarly, when I get a sense that they can just be themselves. And whether or not we stay together, it's like, that was a great date conversation. That's a cool person. Not for me, but really it was a good conversation. I enjoy having conversations with civil people who are very opposite to me. I've had very interesting conversations with girl power chicks, mature ones, older ones, who can talk sensibly and then don't get offended because I don't agree with everything they agree with. Chem SMFS, hey human, what do you think of arranged marriages in some South Asian countries with respect to hookup culture? Yeah, functionally, they're a lot better than what we're doing, but again, you've got to weigh up how important it is to you if you want to get married and if it's worth doing it. If you really want a kid, suppose it's safer, but then again, you bring them to the West, and a lot of them turn into girl power chicks. No says, do you plan on moving out of Australia due to lack of freedom? It depends on how bad it gets. JJ says, get involved with a woman and suddenly her problems become your problems. True, but again, the importance of compatibility right from the start. How do you know? Be as open as possible. Let the ideas burst out of the dam. Say what you want to say. Ask her questions you want to ask. Find out about her. And again, women get flattered by you asking them about. They want to feel important. So what better way for it to be a win-win is ask them about themselves. Why did this happen? Why did you break up? What do you like in a guy? What don't you? What have you learned from your ex? Like there's a million questions. Make it about them. Great. Okay. Because you want to know about them. You want to get a picture of them. Also pay attention to whether they're curious about you or they don't care at all. But yeah, if you don't care about finding out if you're compatible, then yeah, you'll overlook her problems and then her problems will become yours if you start sort of seeing her. Jose, thank you for the super chat donation. He says, instead of game or make a woman submit to your frame, one should be looking for a compatible woman. Yes, that is naturally helpful and enjoys giving and taking care. Chameleons will turn on you anytime. Yep. All I can say is I agree. Yeah, JJ says, some men are just gluttons, foolish gluttons for punishment. It plays into men. Men actually like overcoming stuff. You look at them at the gym, they love pushing against weight, and then, but the difference is you go through a lot of pain at the gym, you get rewards back. You go through a lot of effort, you can actually see the benefits. With a woman, that instinct is wasted. I think Stefan Molyneux gave a prime example years ago. I remember he was talking about when he was with a girl, he thinks when he was being nice and giving, he was putting money in the bank. Then when you go to withdrawal, there's no money there. So you think you're putting money in the bank, but you're actually putting money in a furnace. So yeah, men are gluttons for punishment a lot of times. The point is, consciously, don't let yourself be a doormat anymore. Look for reciprocity, but most importantly, look for compatibility. Naturally, your biology may just get a kick out of being the tough guy, the hero that takes punishment, that can take a lot of weight, because instinctively you think you will get rewarded for it, because everything else in life, the human doing of the male, typically gets rewarded with the effort he puts into things. So like, I'm sensibly putting a lot of work into this, and it's going to be great because of all this conscious work I'm putting into it. A woman is the main example of where that doesn't work a lot of the times, unless you're conscious. Thus, having a conscious vetting process and looking for compatibility on that first meeting, and don't lie to yourself if it's not there. David says, who hurt you? Just kidding. A lot of people. But that's not the point. It's what you learn from it. Dan's Ride for Mental Health says, there's your truth, my truth, and the truth. Yep. Yeah, JJ says, my truth equals solipsism. I agree. Or when people say most people can't handle the truth, yeah, most of those people is like, most people can't handle my truth. T-Dog says, hey human, in our modern world, when you meet someone who is authentic, genuine, what do you notice about them? I think it's when you're more honest about yourself and you're not afraid to speak your mind, you start noticing that same thing from other people. Then you can sort of like, yeah, there's a reason why I'm comfortable with them. There's probably a reason why you're comfortable around certain people, not others. When you start being okay with who you are, expressing yourself, not being afraid of just expressing a civil opinion and having the right to have a different opinion, you start to notice in other people who they have a live and let live attitude. They can accept differences. They don't get traumatized by a different point of view and say, oh my God, that's offensive. People that are comfortable to be around, you notice yourself, you're more comfortable. So I think your instinct for those people becomes better when you're more grounded. And if you've had more experience with inauthentic people. Donna, thanks for the super chat. She says Melbourne's still in bloody home prison because of EIO. Yeah, I know. I would have thought it would have dissipated. I thought we would be free by this week. How far away is it? Isn't it like they keep saying next week or something? Yeah, Dan Andrews, our leader, is like the worst leader we've had of our state since I don't know when. I don't think we've had a worse leader than him. And in these times, why do we have to have him now? I would have rather had Dan Andrews pre-2019. If I had to have him. All right, guys. Last questions. Like, ask them in the chat and add a few emojis so I can see them. Michael C says, my stepsister did that to me last time we talked. She said, do you hate women? Because I talked about men's issues. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I've had that happen to me too. Where I've just actually talked about, yeah, because men this and this and it's unfair. And I've had the response of, do you hate women? It's like, Christ, I'm just speaking for something. It doesn't mean I'm against the other. Or I remember one when I was dating a girl back when I think it was Hillary Clinton was running for presidency, and she was on TV, and I was with her on the couch, and I said, look at this lying, blah, blah, blah. And I said, like, she lied about this and that. I can't believe anyone wants to vote for her. And I was really kind of annoyed. She says, do you hate women? That didn't last. It's like they don't listen to anything you're saying. It's kind of like they can only see the surface of what you're talking about. So either you like the surface or you hate the surface. But the context, the substance of what you're talking about in that doesn't matter. That's another thing to be aware of. Look at just a person. If you're going to be with a girl, if she's all surface, if that's her depth, then you better worry, buddy. Because anytime if you want to scratch below the surface and get into any kind of meaning, she's just going to judge the surface and see that as the capital T truth. Doesn't matter how you think about it, what it means. She's just going to judge the fashion of it, the clothing over the idea. Wrangler Star, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. All this money will go to towards another microphone. No, I need to stop. The Artful Codger says, might we see examples of your drawings and artwork? If you go to my earliest videos, before I showed my face, all of the thumbnails were examples of my artwork. So they're very illustrative, very cartoonish. So they're examples. The ones that just have drawings on the front, they were all done by me. Francis says, I'm an introverted male and women come to me all the time. Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I had a lot of extroverted women. Not a lot. What am I saying? Sorry. I had I dated a few extroverted women, and they liked me, but they liked the opposite of me. They were tired of their own kind of men. So I learned that they just wanted guys who had like a more stable personality, a more realistic, introverted, less kind of out there, unpredictable personality, because they can't handle two people like that. But then you have to deal with her. So be careful of that too. CJ says humans seek sexual validation out of fear of death. Yeah, Ernest Becker wrote a fair bit about that. He said that the prime reason human beings act the way they act is because they haven't come to terms with they're going to die, really come to terms. And the Stoics touched upon that. You meditate on death, memento mori. Really come to terms with, don't just kind of like, yeah, I know I'm going to die, but you know, that's it. Like really know you haven't got much time left. Be realistic. Stop throwing your time away. Stop repeating the same garbage all the time. Live consciously. The sand's running out of the hourglass. It's not you might die. You will. It's a certainty, 100%. It's over up ahead. Forget it. For me, it's liberating. For some people, it's depressing. It sort of splashes cold water on my face. H says, acting to get something you want or need from others, or acting as a way to practicing to become what you love. Is there any difference? If you're more honest about facing the mirror and knowing who you are, there's nothing wrong with cherry picking and trying on things that fit you or may fit you. And then if you know they don't, but if you can see from a distance, this thing is not me, and it probably won't help me, but it's kind of entertainment. It's an escape. It's a way to avoid problems. That's the kind of difference of perspective you need to come to. A lot of people waste their time, and then you can make the excuse of saying, well, I was trying. The example that comes to mind is how many people are on Tinder saying, look, I'm just having fun until the right person comes along. So I am looking for something serious, but until I find them, I'm doing this. You are not taking it seriously. You're using an excuse. You're eating McDonald's and you're hoping that fitness will come along. You are practicing a course of life that's going to make it almost impossible for you to... You're giving yourself the worst chance of being happy or stable or balanced. Colin, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, do you ever become very angry? No, never. I get annoyed, but I never become really angry. I have lost it once or twice, but me losing it is, imagine the way I speak, but I use my words like a hammer and I'm loud. I've done that maybe a couple of times when some person really has insulted or abused me intentionally. Like it's not confusing. They really treated me like crap and they really overstepped a line. So I've never been kind of really, although I was once, I can remember a prime example when I was very, not very, but where I did exhibit physical violence when I was young. But it was justified. It was in reference to something I deeply cared about. When I was growing up, my parents didn't have a lot of money, and they bought me a necklace. Not that I wanted it, but I could tell how much they were giving to show caring for my birthday. And I was so embarrassed that they spent so much money on me because I could tell we didn't have a lot. And I wore it, and at school, the bully of the school came up to me and he grabbed me by the collar and he snapped the necklace. And all I remember is seeing his face go white because, I don't know, he must have seen my face. He dropped me and started running. And I just chased him, and they had to pull me off him because I was like bashing the crap through him. And they pulled me off him, and he was kind of crying and screaming and saying, "Oh, after school we're going to bash you." And then when I kind of calmed down and in class and waiting the rest of the day, I was afraid I was going to get destroyed at the end of the day, and I was really fearful. Nothing happened, but that was the only time. That's my memory of when I really kind of lost it, physically, violently. Aside from that, everything's been more verbal, a more mature resistance than that primal way. But that's but then again, I'm actually not embarrassed about why I was physically violent when I was young, because that was justified. CJ says humans are called a tournament species. The men compete to win reproductive rights. I think human beings are somewhere between tournament and what's the other one? It escapes me. There's two different types. I think we're somewhere in between. Colin, thanks for the super chat donation. He says, human thoughts on Rollo Tomasi, Rich Cooper, Fresh and Fit podcast. Not my thing. They're in, like, look, they can do what they want. And look, there's some guys, especially the younger you are, I think they kind of, especially Fresh and Fit, the younger generation fit in with them. Because let's be frank, if you're late teens, early 20s, you're going to get less from me than you will from those guys. Those guys are giving you what you want. All you think about is women, women, women. You might be frustrated with them, but women are all that's occupying your prefrontal and your emotions and your drive. Everything is about women. And all the problems of women and all the solutions are around women. It's only when you get older, you kind of, your perspective shifts from women to the world, and you see women and everything else is integrated. So they have their place, but the younger you are, it's all about women. Even protecting yourself from women, making yourself better as a guy in relation to women, like it's all women, 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 but they kind of hold the keys to the castle with everything. But a lot of the Rollo Tomasi, Rich Cooper, Fresh and Fit guys, it's all about game, picking up, dating, and all that kind of stuff. It's not, some of it's philosophical, especially from what I've heard and read a bit of Rollo Tomasi. He does kind of go into some philosophy to help guys come to terms with their dating life, but all of it is about dating, their dating life and how to. Mine's not so much. Mine's in terms of understanding. So I don't have much against them. They're not my thing. Two of those guys, like, it's kind of like a hierarchy of where I place them, and some of their personalities too. Some of them don't speak to me at all. They're not the kind of people that I would really have much to say to in life. But yeah, they're not my cup of tea. Let me be charitable. But I have nothing against them. Do what you want to do. I just don't like how they some of them, they kind of want to help men, but they won't help you until they won't even, you got to pay them hundreds of dollars for them to actually offer advice. Like, it's not just, okay, donate if you feel like it, but it's kind of like they're making money off broken men as a business. And you could say, look, you got to charge for your time and all that. It's like, okay, but yeah. And the message they're giving is it's very high school coming from older men, especially some of these older examples you gave. They're giving you the advice of an alpha dude bro in high school wrapped up in a seemingly mature, experienced guy, which they probably are. But it's kind of just circling in that high school dating, clubbing environment, and it's trying to develop a moral philosophy in staying youthful in that environment. and you look at some of the women they talk about and they have on the show, like you wouldn't want to go anywhere near them, not just because of how they look, but how they speak, their mentality. These women are one step away from having you in court. So I just think it's such a risky environment, and it's not a really safe environment for guys to be sort of, do what you want. I don't want to tell people what to do, but not my cup of tea. Colin, again, thanks for the super chat. He says, would love to see a collab with you and any of those guys like Rollo, Rich, and Fresh and Fit. What could we talk about? Nothing. The only guy in terms of personality, I like Better Bachelor's personality. I like that guy. But it's not so much because he just reads off, he comments on what's out there in the media. And so that's his point of view, which I don't mind some of his videos. But all the guys, and he's probably he's still connected to those other guys you talked about, like Rich, Rollo, and Fresh and Fit and all those guys. He's still tangentially part of their group, although not centrally. But it's more about personalities I could talk to. I'll talk to anyone, especially different people, but I don't really see what kind of conversation I'd have. I'd see if I wouldn't be really having conversations with Rollo, Rich, Fresh and Fit guys. It would be more debating. I don't like debating. I like having conversations. I feel like I could have a conversation, even if we had differences of opinion. I feel like I could have more of a conversation with Better Bachelor than I could with any of those guys. Any more questions, guys? It's Sunday here. It's probably Saturday night for most other people who are on. Typical Throwaway says, will dating be more easier for males post-COVID? Interesting question. I don't know. I think there's been too many generations thus far for people to see the light. I think people are hungry to go right back to what it was. You just take a look at how quickly people are going to travel. People are going to burst out of the blocks like greyhounds to go right back to what they were. I would say right now we have a reprieve from all the snowflake woke rubbish because objectively people are in survival mode. Like, we don't care about your 56 descriptions of your identity out there. I don't care how you dress. I don't care about how you identify. We've got more important things to talk about. Once this is over, and you're going to probably see it towards the end of the year, as soon as kind of flights open up, I think a lot of the stuff will come back. But I just hope people push back. There's enough people with enough authority who have seen the light in their own life that have self-reflected and go, you know what, I was wrong, I need to adjust, or we need to be more fair with this, and you guys are being ridiculous. I don't know. Too hard to tell. I'm not a good predictor. Who would have predicted all this? Spec Ops, in relation to, I think, when I was talking about all the PUA guys, all those red kind of guy groups, he says they're basically drug addicts, and they say, don't do drugs, now pay me for that advice. Eric Coin says, come on, human, Rollo and Fresh and Fit in different worlds. Perhaps, look, I haven't watched enough of their stuff. I do, from what I've seen, and quotes, I do, out of all Rollo, Fresh and Fit and those guys, I do hold Rollo and like Better Bachelor. I do respect them more because they're more of my cup of tea in terms of I can get something from them. I can understand what they're going on about. So I don't mean to sort of put down Rollo, but I've seen him just in thumbnails, like he's kind of with those guys a lot, so maybe I'm judging unfairly. But yeah, definitely I wouldn't, I don't mean to sort of denigrate Rollo, because from what I've heard, he is switched on, but it's still sort of within all those groups that are talking about hookup and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know enough, so I'm not kind of judging. I can't judge enough because I don't know enough about them. And there's not much in what they talk about. I've tried to watch some videos and it's the same old kind of low-level dating, clubbing sort of stuff. And Rollo does talk about it more intelligently. But yeah, just maybe subjective interest on my part. I don't know. M. Royce, better bachelor and his little broken down bus. What's wrong with his bus? I think it's like the guy's a minimalist. Ooh, it's a bit bright. For any of you that are interested, that's why I've got a variable ND filter on the front of my lens. I just twist this thing and I can just adjust the light up and down while still retaining the blurred background. Yeah, Dario says TFM, Messenger, Rising Spetsnaz, Stardust go better with human. What about Jordan Peterson? I like Jordan Peterson. See, here's an example. He's got a lot of different points of view, but when he talks about how to improve your life, things like that, there's very little you can argue about. H. Williams says the camera quality is quite nice. Thank you. I'm a bit of a technophile. Yeah, I was going to, I thought about trying out Sony, but I've had a Sony camera before. They're just not fun to use. I know they've improved, but something simple and nice about Canon. They're getting too expensive these days, so yeah, I really love this camera because this, up until now, like, forgive the diversion briefly, for you guys who kind of know gear and cameras, for full frame, this is 8-bit 420, and it's really, really good. Like, this is some of the best 1080p footage at 8-bit 420 that I've come across and color graded. Whereas my GH5, which I love that camera, but it can be very fragile to work with the files. But that's like, you can go up to 6K, the resolution's so detailed. It's 422 10-bit, whereas this is 420 8-bit. It's like lower. And I know it's full frame, but it's really beautiful. The end result is what you see. So you can pixel peep, but take a look at the quality of this camera. It's really nice. For me to get good results with my GH5, it was hit and miss. Sometimes it would work really well, and it was hard to replicate it. I can replicate a good image with this all the time. It's hard to screw it up, unless I'm intentionally screwing it up, which can be easy. But if you just kind of keep a couple of things in mind, it's very hard. Like, you just switch it on and it works. I mean, I don't have to try very hard. Look at this. So, all right, last questions and let's wrap it up. Whoa, 2.5 hours. All right, definitely let's wrap it up. All right. Yep, junk food's bad for your health. People or things or food? Human, how you doing? I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Jordan Peterson is a legend. He's pretty good. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you very much for turning up. Thanks to all you guys who donated, super chat. Hit the like button, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell. It's free. It helps the channel out. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye guys.